When a colt bucks, it sure makes for a good TikTok video. But true horsemanship is working with quality through distraction. Stick around, you guys. I'm going to show you how in just a minute. Okay, this is Top Gun's two-step, and we're going to get right into it today, working over these ground poles. They are set up to be trot over, not necessarily loped over, but we do want him to navigate with good footwork because he's going to have to navigate different obstacles out in the pasture. I can't set up tree branches or rocks or badger holes or any sort of debris for that matter out in the pasture for a certain foot space to allow him to have the perfect footfall, whether he's at a trot or a lope. So it's just another job for him to do before I ever get on his back, and we're going to keep on adding distractions to it while we're making him work here, okay? So I changed direction here, and I'm going to send him back the other direction. The right so far has been a pretty good direction for him. Going to the left seems to be a little bit more of a struggle for him so far today. And initially he picks up a right lead. So he's out of balance and he speeds up, right? Let's slow it down again. Right here he takes a lope and he takes the right lead. So what does that tell us? He's out of balance. And when they speed up, it's also an indication of being out of balance, okay? So that's what we're working on here. I want him just to trot through these, and I want him to hold himself together as he's going around. So he speeds up again, but this time he stays to the inside of the poles. He doesn't take them, but he does take the correct lead here. If you can see that now, he took the left lead as he goes around. And so I can't get too mad at him. You know, he's picking up the correct lead for me, and he's taking a lope, but he's not necessarily going over the ground poles. You can eventually put the two together if that's what you want to do. I'm pretty happy with how he's working right now. You know, ground poles can be really intimidating to a lot of horses, and so I stick them out there because it makes these horses brave and bold in all the work that they do. So it just gives them another job to do. If they're confident enough to go over those ground poles in the round pen like this, then they're generally more confident when I take them out and ride them out somewhere. And now in this last track around there, he took them really well at a trot, but he just picked up the wrong lead here after he went through them. Now he took the lope for me, so I can't get after him for taking the lope because that's what I asked for. But he was out of balance, and he took the right lead. Now here's an education in picking up the correct lead. Now see how he's reaching out with that right foot instead of the left foot? Okay, he's out of balance there. He picked up the wrong lead, and in this situation, that is absolutely not what I want. I'm not at that level yet with him to ask him to pick up a false lead. That's quite a bit further in our training. So I'm going to go ahead and break him down gently and ask for it again. So I pick up the whip because when I'm asking for the lope, I need him to pick it up right now. I don't want him to trot as fast as he can for 2 laps around the round pen. That's not effective training. He needs to understand that I need it to happen right now, whether I'm on the ground or whether I'm on his back. So I'm going to go ahead and stop and let him rest for a second, go up to him and pet him. And he's kind of irritated with me. You could see him jump a little bit. It's a really windy day here too. You could see the camera shake just a little bit. I apologize for that. But I pet and rub on them a lot. And until I know that they've accepted me touching them, approaching them, and let them understand that, you know, this is a time to rest, this is time to relax while I'm kind of rubbing all over you. And I go ahead and switch the side that my buoy's on, and I'm going to work him again the other direction. And standing here waiting on me to adjust things on his saddle is all part of the training as well. There's nothing worse than an impatient horse that you can't adjust things on your saddle, or maybe you're putting a trail pack on there or tying your jacket on there or taking your jacket off and they won't stand still. So that's all part of the training too. All of this is working with quality. And I start out with just asking him to trot around. Like I've said before, something about the buoy on the inside of the circle doesn't generally bother them. It's when I put the buoy on the outside of them or send him around. If I were to send him around to the right, that's when I seem to see a problem, is when that buoy is on the outside of their circle. And so right now we're getting a pretty decent trot over these poles. He's taking them. He's not tipping them or knocking them. Now I'm going to change direction with him. And this is where we're going to see a change in gait. This is where we're going to see him struggle a little bit with this distraction now banging on the outside of that flank right behind that back cinch. I preach over and over again that it's the footwork that counts. And if you don't understand footwork, you will never be a good rider, trainer, or competitor. And right here, he takes the wrong lead. So let me slow-mo it down for you. He takes the left lead initially in the first stride. Watch it right here. That left foot is out in front, and then he follows through with the right. And then in mid-stride, he changes to the right lead in front, but then he's still cross-firing behind, and he's disunited. So the back lead is on the left lead still, while the front is on the right. This is what I preach. This is what we have to correct, and this is what we can correct in our groundwork. So again, he took the lope. I can't get after him for taking the lope, but I do break him down to the trot gently. I don't get after him too bad. Put him back on the trot poles again. I ask for that lope again. He takes off on right lead this time. His legs are working together. He's in the correct lead. Front and hind, it's the footwork that counts. He's correct, and we need to establish this in our groundwork before we ever get on their back. After this time through the ground poles, I'm going to go ahead and let him stop and let him rest for a second. He takes these ground poles pretty nice. He's quiet. He's balanced. He's not speeding up. He's thinking about stopping. All good points here. I've got his focus. I have his attention. Pet and rub on him. Now, I'm going to fast forward through this. I eventually get to a point where I have all 4 buoys on him at the same time, and we're going to do the exact same exercise with all 4 buoys on. We're expecting him to walk, trot, lope both directions with all these distractions. Think of this as saddlebags on the horse, maybe a slicker or a coat tied on. This is your legs bouncing on them. This is, maybe 10 years down the road, an adult packing their kid along with them on this horse. That's what I'm prepping this horse for, doing groundwork like this and doing his job very well. Now I'm asking him to lope off here. He gives me a nice left lead. I keep him slightly to the inside because I didn't want him really loping over the poles. I wanted him just to come to the inside. I go ahead and change direction, and I'm going to send him back the other way. Clearly, he doesn't care about all 4 buoys. I'm going to send him in a lope here in a second, but we're going to trot around to the inside at first, and then ask him for a lope again this direction and make sure he takes a balanced lope, correct lead. Ask him for it again here. We get it correctly, and we're going to call it a day with this, you guys. This is working with quality, with good horsemanship, starting a 2-year-old properly with good groundwork, with good work ethic. And, this is setting up this colt up for a great future ahead of him, and it's really developing the mind on this horse. I can't say enough good things about this horse. He's been a dream to work with so far, and he's been fun to use for all these videos. Stay tuned because we're getting ready to do a first ride on him now. I look forward to sharing that video with you here pretty soon. I sure thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys have a good day, and thanks for spending your afternoon with me.